YouTube video. I know this video is not like, you know, the average YouTube video because I'm filming it on Snapchat, so it's gonna be a lot of cuts. But I noticed that like when I just set my camera up and try to make one long video and edit it like on camera, I can't do that. But I can talk nonstop on Snapchat and be so comfortable. So that's basically what all of my YouTube videos are going to be. I'm just going to be telling a story and clips on Snapchat. And then I'm going to put them all together as one, edit it, and post it. And hopefully it turns out good. So this video is going to be about my pedophile gym teacher. Yes, girl, this video is going to be a little bit serious. So let's dive in right now, girl. So this video took place when I was in 7th grade. So I was probably, 12 or 13 years old. And when it came to gym class, I didn't really take gym class seriously. And honestly, I still don't. Like, I tried to focus on every other class that I actually had to do work and tests and stuff in. And when I got to gym, it wasn't kind of like I didn't look at it as a class. I looked at gym like it was recess because we didn't have recess at the school that I was going to. So basically how our gym class was set up is our gym teacher would bring us in class and he would give us a list of exercises that we need to do. And as a class, we would do all of these exercises. And then right afterward, he would break out all the basketballs, all the hula hoops, the jump ropes. Y'all know how the teachers do when it's free time and everybody knows it's free time. I was one of those kids. I was bad, y'all. So basically what me and my best friend would do, and we're going to call her Tiana. I text her and asked her what she wanted her name to be because obviously I can't give out her real name. And she didn't text me back, so your name going to be Tiana. But we would basically play around the entire time we was doing workouts. So we would be over here play fighting by the classroom doing lunges. The classroom would be doing push-ups and me and Tiana would be running around the classroom like doing the dumbest stuff. So one day came around, we was playing extremely too much and our gym teacher got fed up. And he was like, okay, so since y'all don't want to work out, y'all can't do free time either. Like, you can't choose which one you want to participate in. So he was like, what y'all gonna do is go sit on the wall when everybody else have free time. So while they play, y'all can sit on the wall apart from each other and watch everybody else play. And we did not care. We was like, okay. We didn't care because we sat next to each other on the wall anyways, but we didn't care about being active as long as we could sit next to each other and talk to each other. But that day we actually like just sat across from each other and we would just look at each other and bust out laughing. Like, you know how your best friend is. You just look at them and you want to laugh. And so it came to a point in the gym class where every single day, because you know how like people have those little laptops, everybody get assigned a laptop like in high school and you get to take it home and do your work on it and everything. We didn't have those. We got assigned iPads. So every teacher had an iPad too. And when free time came around, the gym teacher, Mr. Pedophile, because that's what we're going to call him, he would take his iPad and a big old speaker out of his office and set it up in the corner of the gym and give his iPad to the girls in our classroom, and they would just play the entire time and listen to music and dance, you know, the normal stuff for a child. I think that was around the time when like the whip was getting popular, the nay, all of that stuff. So they would take this and they would play music and they would all get into like a big old group of girls and they would just dance the entire class, and the boys would be on the other side of the gym playing basketball. And that particular day, I was paying extra close attention to everybody for no reason. And I noticed that the gym teacher was looking at the girls group a little funny. Like, he would take his a different iPad and give us class dojo points because we didn't get graded on like gym based off how much we did. It was more so behavior and participation, not what we did and how we did it. You feel me? So he would like give us 5 dojo points if we did all the exercises, or 5 negative if we didn't do it. So he was watching everyone to see what they were doing, and based off what they were doing is how many points that he would give them. And you know, if they have on their uniform, he would mark uniform in the book. Long story short, I noticed that he was doing one of these. He would look down at his notepad and then he would look up at the group of girls and just stare for at least 2 minutes. 2 minutes is a long time. If you actually set a timer and just stare at something for 2 minutes, it's a long time. So he will legit just be staring at the girls, the whole group of girls, and then he would write something down. And then he would start to stare again and legit just staring at this group of 13 and 12-year-old girls dancing. And they never danced inappropriately. They never twerked, but they were into gymnastics. So they would be throwing their legs up in the air, you know, trying to do the splits, dancing, moving their hips and whatnot. And he would literally stare at them the entire class. Okay. And it got to a point where we was on a wall every day because we just never did workouts. And it was a reason that we didn't. We wasn't just being bad at that point. It was a reason. But we were always on the wall and I always saw it. Like always. I'm just noticing this. And I thought it was weird, but I didn't say anything for like the first 2 times that I saw it. I just watched him watch them. And I didn't say nothing, not even to Tiana, like, because it wasn't, I didn't look at it as weird at first, because it was kind of just like, oh, okay, he's staring. That's a little weird, but okay. You know, it was one of those kind of situations. And then a few days later, me and Tiana actually sat next to each other. So we were on the wall. We couldn't participate, but we actually sat next to each other. And so we talking and everything. And she noticed it. She looked up at him and she was like, Desiree, look at Mr. Pedophile. And I looked over at him and he literally took a basketball, rolled it to the girls' side of the gym, and then waited a second and then stood up and faked like he was going to get the basketball. Legit, y'all, as they were dancing, so he could walk past and look at them while he went to pick up the basketball. I want to say this went on for about a week because we watched him do this, but we never said nothing. And it wasn't because we were scared. It was just because I don't even know why we just didn't say anything. But we would literally like make fun of it, like, oh my God, he is so weird. Like, why is he sitting there watching him? And it got to a point where it wasn't a joke no more, okay? Because I was starting to take it seriously, and I was like, why, you're a grown man, why are you staring at these girls? So one day, I don't think we had to sit on the wall this day because we were actually walking around and not getting in trouble. I walked up to the group of girls as I'm watching him watch them, and I started talking to them, and I was like, hey, do y'all ever notice that Mr. Pedophile stares at y'all a little bit when y'all are dancing? And everybody, like, I'm telling you, almost every girl over there was like, yeah, girl, he is so weird. Like, we don't even be doing that like a lot. We don't be doing too much. We just be dancing in general. So I remember specifically, it was this girl named Destiny. That's not her real name, but that's what we're gonna call her because she looked like her Destiny. And I remember her specifically going into detail, like I would throw my leg up and out of nowhere he would get up. And like, she literally told me what, oh my God. Me and Tiana, I just said her real name, I'm gonna bleep that out. Me and Tiana had talked about, and she was like, yeah, I noticed that one day, as soon as we started dancing, all of nowhere, a bunch of basketballs started coming our way, and he kept going up to get the basketballs. Like, so she was noticing it, and this whole group of girls was noticing it. So at this point, me and Tiana not being petty, we not being insecure, we not being weird. He's watching them. We know that he's watching them, and they know that he's watching him, but they were like still dancing. I asked them to, like, so are y'all uncomfortable? Why do y'all still dance? And they said, we're uncomfortable, but we want to have fun. Like, that was their excuse. So and I didn't really blame them because, yeah, we have to take everything seriously. Y'all finally getting a break, so do you. But I'm like, okay, so y'all know that he's watching y'all, and I know. And me and Tiana, we just talked about it for the entire day, and I couldn't get it off of my mind. So I decided to go talk to an adult about it. And I'm not going to say, I'm not even going to give this adult a name or, I'm not going to tell their place in the school, like what they were, a counselor, a teacher. I'm not even going to get into detail about that because I don't want anybody to figure out who I'm talking about or what school I'm talking about. But I went to an adult and I told her, Mr. Pedophile, he watches the girls in class when they dance. He watches them. He pushes basketballs towards them. And there was like a little curtain on the side of the gym that they were on. And he would literally go behind that curtain, pretending like he was getting the basketball. But he would be back there for a while. Like he was, at this point, it was like, there's a problem. And it needs to be addressed because they didn't think of it as something that was a problem. But I knew because my parents taught me, like, you need to stay clear of people like this because there are pedophiles in this world. So I talked to this teacher and I'm like, yeah, he watches the girls. He does things specifically so that he can see them better, so that he can watch them. He doesn't just glance up at them like the way he does the boys. He literally stares at them for at least 2 minutes. And she legit was like, yeah, 2 minutes. 2 minutes is a long time. Are you sure it's 2 minutes? Are you sure you're not exaggerating? And I said, no, I'm sure. Like, he stares at them and you can ask the entire class. And she said, okay, I'm going to handle it. You don't have to, you don't have to worry about it anymore. That's what she told me. You don't have to worry about it anymore. I will handle it. Telling y'all, a good 2 months went by when, I don't know if I'm exaggerating or if it was probably like 3 weeks or something, but I honestly think it had to be over a month. And I want to say it was like a good 2 months where he would watch them every single day, and me and Tiana would watch him watch them, and I'm just waiting for him to get called out of class one day so that they can interview him or talk to him or do an investigation or whatever. But this teacher never did anything. Literally for 2 months, it just kept happening. Nobody said anything about it. She didn't give me any updates. He like kept doing it like nobody was suspecting him. So I knew like, okay, these teachers are covering up for each other. These workers, the people that were working in these schools, they're covering up for each other, because this this woman obviously didn't say anything. Like she let him get away with it. I don't know if y'all have those things at y'all school where like every few months they take everybody to the library and they give you what they call a safety test. And basically the test asks you basic questions like, do you smoke outside of school? Do you smoke in school? Do you drink? Do you feel safe in school? Do you feel like your teachers are doing everything they need to do to teach you? Da 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 da. It was one of those days where we had to go take those tests. And so me and Tiana sat next to each other in the library, and we're taking our tests. And as we're taking the test, we're talking about Mr. Pedophile. So the question came up where it was like, do you feel safe in all of your classes? And it was kind of like a multiple answer question. It was like yes or no. And I checked no. And Tiana was like, why you check no? You don't feel safe? And I was like, girl, you know what Mr. Pedophile be doing? And she was like, oh, right. And she was like, she called it out like, you've been said something, and nothing's happened. I want to take this time to point out the fact that it legit took them like over 2 weeks to get back to me. Like, it took them so long to respond that I forgot that I had even said something in that letter. Like I forgot. If you choose no, they bring up like a little bar where you can actually type, and it asks you, why don't you feel safe in school? And so I typed out a whole paragraph. My friend was telling me some stuff that she wanted to say. So I typed it and I said, I don't feel safe in school because the gym teacher watches the girls as they dance. He watched the girls like a predator would watch a child. This is how he watches them. I told them about the basketball incident. He rolls basketballs over there, trying to get a better look at the girls, and all of them are noticing it. And after that question, it brought up another bar, and it said, what can we do to make you feel safer at school? And I legit put in that bar, I said, you can fire Mr. Pedophile because I do not feel safe around him. And I left my name because those tests are anonymous. I left my name so they would know who typed that. Okay, so the teacher, I don't know why I keep calling her a teacher. She wasn't a teacher. The first adult that I had ever said something to, we're gonna name her Miss Stacy. She came up to me like 3 weeks later, 2.5 to 3 weeks later, to the point like I had forgotten about it. She came up to me out of nowhere and was so angry, and she was like, I told you I was going to handle it. I told you I was going to solve this problem. So why would you go and write that in that school safety test? Because now they want to do a full-on investigation. Now the principal wants to pull your parents into the school and talk to you and do all of these things with the people in your classroom. So why didn't you just keep your mouth shut and let me handle it like I told you to? And it was really like she was mad that I had said something to somebody else. But it was like, I told you, and you let him get away with it, and you literally didn't do anything. And if you did do something, it took them at least 2 months, more than 2 months, because they never got back to me or you. So what do you mean? So I want to say the next day or 2 days after that, I was in class, and out of nowhere, the principal just, like, my teacher was like, yeah, Desiree, you're needed in the principal's office. So I'm like, oh, snap. I looked at Tiana like, girl, you already know what this is about. I go to the office, and when I get there, my dad is at the school, and the teacher that I told, or not the teacher, oh my God, the Miss Stacy and my dad, they are both there. And the principal is in her office, and they call me in, and she's telling me like, okay, so I saw your name on the safety test. I've been told, everything that's going on in the gym class, and I just called you in here because I wanted to ask you a few questions. I never want you to feel unsafe in my school, yada yada yada. And my dad and Miss Stacy are just sitting there like, my dad was like, he didn't really even say anything. I don't even know why he was there because he didn't say anything. I guess he was just there because he didn't want me to feel afraid. Hold on, child, because my lip gloss is rubbing off because I'm talking so much. So basically, the principal asked me, she said, I want to get the teacher's side of the story and I want to ask him a few questions. I mean, the gym teacher, Mr. Pedophile. So she says, are you comfortable with me calling Mr. Pedophile into the room to ask him some questions? And I told her no. I told her I'm not comfortable answering any questions or being in the same room as him. I don't want to be around him. I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to talk to you with him present. I don't want to be around him because I am uncomfortable. And she still called him in the room. So I'm just sitting there in a chair and he just walks in out of nowhere. And I think they made my dad sit out in the hallway. So the only people that were actually in the room were me, Miss Stacy, and Mr. Pedophile and the principal. And so she starts asking me questions like, okay, so is it true that, Mr. Pedophile watches the girls in the class as they dance? And I said, nothing. Actually, I didn't say anything. I refused to talk for we were in there for probably 10 minutes. For the first 8 minutes, I refused to talk. I didn't answer any of her questions, but I did at the end end up saying yeah, he does watch them. But because I wasn't answering her, she started asking him questions, asking okay, so, is this true? Do you watch the girls in the class? He's like, no, I love the girls. I love everyone in my gym class. I make sure they're safe. I watch them for at least probably 2 seconds to see if they're participating. And then I log it in and I go on to the next person. I've never watched any of the females in my classroom. Sitting here listening to him because he's lying. This dude is just sitting here lying, and I'm just sitting here listening to him lie. Are you serious? And so she turns to me in the last 2 minutes, and she's like, are you sure that he watches them for over 2 minutes, or as you say, over a minute? And a minute is a long time. We can sit here, and she legit sat there and pretended to not talk or stare at me for a minute so that I could see how long it was. And I'm like, yes, he stares at them for longer than that. I'm not stupid. You can ask every girl in our classroom. And the principal, she didn't say it, but in her head, she was like, I bet I'm asking everybody. Basically, they didn't really launch an investigation, but they started asking around. They started asking the girls in the school, does Mr. Pedophile watch you? Do you feel uncomfortable when you're in his class? Do you notice that he, does certain things to get closer to you? And literally every single girl in that group that looked me and Tiana in our faces and said, yes, we're uncomfortable. Yes, he watches us, but what can we do? Literally all of them had nothing to say. Nobody came forward. And the reason that they said that, Tiana came to me one day and she said, you got to understand, Desiree, everybody is scared because I was in the process of leaving the school. Everybody was like, if you tell him he gets in trouble and he stays at this school, you have a way out. You can leave. These girls are stuck at this school until they graduate. So they're scared. And I honestly understood it, but I was so angry because he got to stay at the school, y'all. So yeah, basically we had cameras all over the school. So basically the principal, Miss Stacy, the gym teacher, and I guess the dean, he pulled up the cameras because he had access to it. He pulled up the cameras, and the dean told the principal yeah, we watched the gym teacher on the cameras, and he didn't look like he was watching them for as long as she said he did. He didn't look like he was interested in them. We didn't see him roll any basketballs toward their side of the gym and go over there. So what she's saying isn't true, basically. And so because I honestly to this day, with my entire heart, believe that they know what he was doing and they know what he did, but they covered up for him because if their gym teacher looks bad, the principal looks bad. And if the principal looks bad, the whole school looks bad. So basically what they told me and my dad was that, okay, so all of the girls that she said could vouch for her and all the girls that she said are involved in this. None of them came forward. None of them had anything to say. And the cameras proved that he wasn't watching the girls the way Desiree said he was. So there's nothing we can do. And the teacher kept working. Mr. Pedophile kept working at the school. He still works at that school today. He still works there. And, you know, they kind of told me, you're just going to have to deal with it. They didn't take me out of that gym class, even though they knew I was uncomfortable. They made me go to gym after that. So after that, literally every single day, I still had to go to gym class after this whole ordeal, however you say it, and look him in his face. And like, I was so uncomfortable. But I think like a month after that, I did end up leaving the school. So it was like probably the worst feeling ever. I was like, because it was like, I was so angry at that group of girls, because y'all know that this is a problem and y'all didn't come forward. But again, it was like, you can't really be mad at them. And I had to understand it. I had a way out. If I wanted to leave the school, which I did, I was in the process of it. Like, I could leave. They couldn't. Most of them girls have been going to that school their entire life. But tell me why. Because this is the part that really makes me angry. Because I still ended up going to that school after this whole situation happened for about, I think I went to the school for like a month and a half before I actually transferred schools after all of this happened. My older brother went to the school before I did, okay? So when I wasn't going to the school when he was in 7th, 8th grade, he was there. About 3 months after all of this happened, he finally came forward out of nowhere while me and, you know, a family member were talking about it. And he just out of nowhere said, actually, yeah, he used to watch the girls in my classroom when I was going to that school. And he said it like not so nonchalantly, like, are you serious? You could have, if you would have said this when all of this was going on, this could have helped. He might not be there today. So that was the even crazier thing. Where like, there are so many things that could have been done to solve the issue at hand. And, you know, so many things went ignored. So many people, you know, didn't want to say anything. So he got to keep his job at that school, and everybody had to just suffer in silence. But I hope you guys enjoyed that video. That was the story at the time about my pedophile gym teacher, and how basically he got away with, I don't even know for sure if he was a pedophile. I don't know if that's the word that you should use when when you're referring to him. But that's what I'm going to refer to him as, because I know what I saw. Like, can't nobody tell me that I'm crazy. Can't nobody tell me that me and Tiana both saw the same thing, but we both just happened to make it up in our minds. Like, that's unrealistic. I know what I saw. But yeah, thanks for watching my video. Like and subscribe if you feel like you want to. If you don't, hey, I'm still here. Love you guys. Bye.